Hey, what's up, Reefers? I'm Reefer Matt, and today I want to talk about power outages and how you can be prepared for them. This recently just happened to me last weekend, and it made a big mess, but luckily I pulled through and I didn't have any casualties. So getting into it, one of the problems you have when the power goes out, obviously, is your life support systems aren't working. Your pumps aren't moving, your heaters aren't heating, your chillers aren't chilling if it applies. Obviously the lights aren't on. So there are some things you can do in a power outage to ensure that your livestock will still survive. One of those is having an air stone and getting like a battery operated pump and having it pump some air into the water while the power's out, because your fish have to breathe oxygen from the water, and as time goes on without water movement, without that agitation, the oxygen in the water will go down. So you want to make sure that you keep your fish alive by having plenty of oxygen available for them. You can also accomplish this if you don't have a generator or a battery operated pump, is to get like a pitcher, like a pitcher for tea or something, and just stir up the top of that tank and get that water moving, and just constantly do that every 15, 20 minutes, and just keep that oxygen going into the water for them. Another thing that they have for some wave makers are battery backups that the manufacturer sells. So Ecotech has these. I personally don't have these, but they may help too, just to keep water moving. It's not going to help so much on your return and heating up the tank if your heater's in your sump, but it'll at least get some surface agitation moving. You can move them up towards the surface of the water, and it'll help for a little while. Also, if you're in an apartment building and you can't have a generator, there are options for you as well. So you can get a boat battery or an RV battery, and they have inverter outlets, and they plug into that battery, and you can plug in a few of your pumps and get some water moving that way, and at least buy you some time, and then just get a battery charger and charge up that battery afterwards. But that's an option for you in apartments, to get that battery, get an inverter outlet, and it'll just save you some time at least, so you're not sitting there trying to figure out what to do. If hot weather is around when the power goes out, you can get some frozen water bottles. Hopefully you've already put them in the freezer beforehand. Pull those out, put those in your tank. That'll help cool it off, along with that water movement that you're going to make. Also, you can get a battery operated fan and blow it on the surface of the water. That'll help cool the tank off too. And also, you can try a water change. If you have some water already sitting and it hasn't gotten too warm yet, it'll buy you a little bit of time. So don't be afraid to try a water change too. During that time, if your tank's getting really hot, you can do that. With cold weather, you can wrap your tank with a blanket and warm it up that way. You're still going to want that water movement if you don't have a generator for the heater in that. And you're going to want to try to insulate that tank as best as you can. And when you're running on emergency power, don't worry about your lights. The lights you probably won't need for 3 to 5 days, so your tank can go that long or a little bit longer without lights. So don't worry about using the power unless you have a generator and you can you have that extra margin to run your lights. You can leave your lights unplugged. If you're going to get a generator, which I highly suggest, I suggest an inverter generator for a few reasons. One of them is they use less gasoline to run if you have a gasoline generator, because they throttle up and down, so they don't just run that same high speed that a generator noise they used to hearing. They'll throttle up and down, save you some gas. Also, it's a cleaner electricity that gets used, so it's better for sensitive electronics such as those that our reef tanks use. So that's why I like an inverter generator. They're a little more expensive, but I think it's worth it. If you haven't bought one yet, consider buying an inverter generator, such as this one right here. This is my generator. It's from Harbor Freight. It's 8750, I believe. Startup watts on it, and it's 7,000 watt, I believe, running. But this generator really helped me out on my last power outage that I had on my tanks, because my power was out for 2.5 days. And without this generator, I would have lost everything, and you wouldn't be watching this video right now probably, because I'd probably be all depressed and everything because I lost all my tanks, knock on wood. but this generator saved all of my tanks. So I am very happy and thankful that I chose to do that. And my wife, you know, she basically blessed off the purchase as well. So it worked out. It worked out really nice. Things to store when you don't have a power outage going, when your power's on, get some fresh batteries on hand, get a flashlight for you. When the power's out, you may need to run some. What I did is I had to run extension cords because I don't have a transfer switch to my generator just yet. So you're gonna need a flashlight and batteries, extension cords. Make sure to get those water bottles in your freezer and have them handy. Make sure you tell somebody not to take them out either. Maybe label them saying, you know, for emergency only. You're gonna want those water bottles already frozen, ready to go, just in case the power goes out when it's hot outside. So that way it'll at least buy you some time so your tank doesn't overheat. Also, those battery operated pumps, have those ready and on hand and available with the tubing and air stone and all that. Those are good to have. Also, a thought is to clean out your skimmer cup while the power's out, because more likely than not, when that power comes back on or when you hook up your generator, that skimmer is going to turn right on unless you have some kind of program, and it's going to overflow your skimmer cup. So, you know, if you have a sump and your sump's not up to level yet, so that's a consideration too, just so you don't make a mess and go, oh, you know, you wish you would have done it. So just make sure that you empty that skimmer cup out, and that'll save you a mess too. So one of the things that you may ask is, how long do I wait when the power goes out before I start hooking things up? You know, what's a safe time? It really depends on your tank. My suggestion is about an hour or two. But if, like me, you wake up in the middle of the night and the power's off and you don't know the exact moment it went off, go ahead and start hooking stuff up right away if you have a generator or whatever, because you don't know how long the power's been out. So it's better safe than sorry to go ahead and do that. If you do know, and you know, an extra hour or two will buy you some time to be more prepared, you can go ahead and wait about an hour or two, but then I suggest start running your emergency power things that you have. So for a few years, I didn't have any backups at all. I didn't have any battery backups. I didn't have a generator. I didn't have anything. Last year, before I bought my generator, I had to borrow a generator, and luckily I found somebody in my area whose power wasn't out. But I had to use that generator for a day or so. So I highly recommend at least having some kind of a plan, because, you know, once it happens, it happens. And when the power goes out, so many different things happen. You may not be focused on the tanks, and then hours and hours go by, and by the time you get around to it, it's too late. So it's better to come up with a plan now that the power's on, so that way when it goes off, you're ready to handle it. I highly suggest getting at least a battery backup if you can't afford a generator. However, you could try to convince your spouse or whomever that you know, the generator is also for them. It can power the TV, the internet, and everything else. So maybe that'll help you win your argument. For those of you that hung in there this long on this sort of dry topic, this next clip is for you. I'm Reefer Matt. Thank you for watching, and happy reefing.